Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Left Off the Map. We've got a good one for you today, a classic Singaporean dish. I learned how to make this dish when I was in Singapore. So you can't use the pre-made rice, you have to use the dried rice to make this because it's about loading that rice up with heaps of flavour, and that's the real trick. And then it's normally served with some chilli, some fresh vegetables, but we're just going to do the chicken rice component of it. So, we need a pot to cook our rice in. Our rice goes in. We need about 1 cup, 1 to 1.5 cups. However, whatever you're making, you need the same amount of rice to liquid. So if you want to make a big batch of this and you want to do 3 cups, then 3 cups of rice to 3 cups of stock. So I'm going to do 1.5 cups of rice to 1.5 cups of stock. And to cheat it, if you're not going to measure, basically rice into a pot, cover the rice with enough of the liquid stock to get to your first knuckle. All right, so if you put your finger in, when your finger touches the rice, the liquid stock should come up to your first knuckle. That's the best way, I think. Basically about 2 centimetres above. And you can add a little bit more of this as you go along if you find that it's getting a bit dry. You do want it to get dry at the end, but just add a little bit if you want to. And 2 thoughts here about, do you wash the rice first or do you put it straight in with all that starch on the outside? If you want a glutinous, sticky rice, some people like their chicken rice to be quite glutinous and sticky. If you want the rice to be separated, then wash it. If you want it to be glutinous, don't wash it. I found that when I was there, I actually enjoyed it more when it was more glutinous because all of that flavour that you're adding through the stock, through the soy, the ginger, the garlic, the soy sauce, the sesame, all of that flavour goes out into that gluten, that starch, and it sticks to all the rice, and I just found it much more enjoyable when it was like that. So I'm not going to wash my rice. All right, so in on top of that, I need some soy. A little bit of sesame oil. You don't need a lot of sesame oil. Sesame oil is not like olive oil. It's not really used as a cooking aid. It's used more as a seasoning, so to get that sesame flavour. Garlic. And then ginger. Now I'm using pickled ginger. You can use fresh ginger if you want to. I like the acidity of the pickled ginger. Decent amount of pickled ginger. Coriander and spring onion. I'm going to use the white part of the spring onion to go in with our cooking stock and save the green part of the spring onion to put on fresh at the end. Right, so all that can go in now. Now because we're going to boil it for 15 minutes, it's not all going to be green and vibrant at the end, so holding on to a little bit of that spring onion just to freshen the dish up at the end is always a good idea. And then the last thing is our chicken itself. If you've got a rice cooker, you can do this in a rice cooker. But basically you're looking at thigh, bone in, skin off, place that on top, and then you plate up your chicken rice. So we'll give that 15 minutes and come back and see how we're going. Our chicken rice is about done, so I can turn the heat off. Now you would let it sit and rest for probably 5 minutes, just to allow it to soak up the last of the stock that's in there. I'll give it just a little splash of stock once you turn it off. You can take your chicken out at this point. So allow that to rest for a little bit as well. You need to be able to soak up all of the last little bits. You've sort of mixed in all of your cooking stock. This is where you can add some of your remaining fresh spring onion and stir that through now. And then the other half I'll keep to put on top of our dish. Stir that in. Give this 5 minutes to rest. Give our chicken 5 minutes to rest. We'll take our chicken off the bone, get our rice into the bowl. Then the chicken goes on top of the rice, spring onion on top of that. We'll let this rest and then we'll plate it up.